Hello, and welcome to Star Time.
I lost my legs in an accident.
That's wonderful. We're all very happy for your new legs. Superior, perhaps, to your old, or inferior?
Inferior. I don't have health insurance.
Nuts. Something that we all face, especially if, say, we fall into a combine. Which I've seen some jokes about lately, falling into combines. I don't know why. It's a very particular joke. It's not a joke. You don't want to have that happen to you.
I have to say, I've been eating a lot of salt lately, and I don't look bloated, and that's a win.
I gotta say, that is a win. I just ate some ramen.
So
Hopefully
did I.
I'm bloating up for the camera. Looking beautiful. Well, anyway, welcome to Jagged Orbits and not Star Time. It's still Star Time. It's just everyone in the world has something named Star Time. And I named it Star Time when I was just thinking of a name randomly when I set up a stream to test something for work, and this kind of stayed. So, since we also talk about monsters and random other things, and I would also like to just talk about things that aren't stars, that also aren't monsters, like weird airplanes and stuff, Jagged Orbit seems good. It's from an old book by John Brunner, and which is called A Jagged Orbit, and it's an expression that the characters make about that things are going kind of off the rails or are not good, and they still have to kind of get through it. They're in a jagged orbit. Perhaps that's what we're all in now. Who knows? Perhaps you know.
It's putting it mildly.
But I just want to say, first of all, welcome back. We took a week off, and this might be a short one tonight. We're just kind of getting back up to speed with a few things.
No, we'll do it for a while.
Well, maybe we're going to do it for a while, for sure. I got a stargazing thing for y'all, and I hope you enjoy it.
I put on makeup for this, so
Ooh.
we'll do it for a while.
Yeah. It's a new time. Hopefully we didn't lose too many folks. Hopefully you've joined. I saw 2 people are here in chat. Hello.
This angle looks good. I'm gonna
Allie.
it from now on.
Allie, the science teacher. I don't know shit. Sure. Well, truly wise people do admit that they don't know very much. As the bullshitter Socrates once said. So yeah, Allie, we appreciate you joining us tonight. It's always a pleasure. So yeah, what was my little notes that I made? We're also at a later time because I was getting very stressed out trying to do this while wrapping up stuff for work. As some of my friends back here have discovered, I basically work on Pacific time on the East Coast, which means I wrap up work around 10 or 11, usually on Fridays, often midnight. But that's why I'm going to do it this way. Doing it at like 8 is like trying to get something done at like 3 in the afternoon or whatever.
It's because the cat's been waking
technically
us up
5.
at like 3 a.m. consistently for food, and we're very tired.
The cat makes me very tired, but I love the cat very, very much.
He's very sweet.
He is very sweet.
But I shouldn't complain because he wakes you up and not me.
Yeah, we should talk a little louder too. We've got to get 2 mics.
We have different parenting styles. He's definitely good cop, and you're gonna have sleep for dinner cop.
I can't do nothing to the cat. He keeps sitting on my face.
I know.
I don't
would never
hurt
do
the
anything
lad.
bad, but I don't know why the cat respects my boundaries for whatever reason. I think it's because he loves you more.
I think because he suspects I'm a big sap more. If you really want to eat at 3:30 a.m., you can. Just don't wake me up at 6 o'clock.
It's really
Well, I
cute.
understand that you're still hungry.
He talks to the cat a lot. It's very cute.
Cat's a little person who sometimes nips me to either show affection or dominance.
I keep it oh, cute kitty. And he's just like, what would you like to eat for dinner today? You know, I think it's cute though.
It could be worse. Because it could be like our sponsor, who this evening we are sponsored by E.T. taking a bong hit. Salute to E.T. taking a bong hit.
That looks like a bong.
Mm-hmm. This is the peak of my artistic achievement from the year 2000. Or maybe 1999.
The problem is he's smoking it wrong. He's doing it like somebody's never had like a bong hit before because he has his whole mouth over. Oh, that was intentional.
He's E.T. He's learning from Elliot or Drew Barrymore how to take a bong hit.
I feel like someone would have instructed him not to do that.
Well, anyway, if you go to ettakingabonghit.com and enter in promo code STARTIME, you get 10% off your first shipment of secondhand smoke from ET. That's
That
a
sounds
real
like
thing.
An advertisement for herbal CBD like sticks, which are now
About as
very
effective.
popular. Like I'm seeing it all over,
Really?
and I'm like, because Lord knows everyone loves a ice cold glass of old Duels
You know, I knew someone in college that really did love O'Doul's. It was weird.
Really?
We had to go buy him O'Doul's with our IDs because he was underage and they wouldn't sell it, even though it's mostly alcohol free. Turns out you still technically need an ID to get non-alcoholic beer.
I know, because my dad tried to get my brother a glass at a bar once and they wouldn't serve him.
That's funny. Can you have St. Pauli girl and said, sorry, that's still the same beer. Yeah. But anyway, E.T. taking a bong hit. You want to know what that's from, really? It's from playing the game called Make the Person Sitting Next to You in Your College Seminar try to laugh out loud and act like you're not doing anything naughty. Right now, it's probably not a game anyone's going to be playing, considering the spikes recently. But instead of that depressing news, shall we head on to space news instead?
New York just closed down the schools this week.
Space news!
Who's this chode?
Seriously, I don't know. What are you looking at his face? Tell me, what do you think this guy is? What's this guy's deal?
He is a sexual predator.
Whoa!
Sorry, should I not say that?
What else does he do?
He probably has a cushy government job that no one cares about. No, I mean, I don't know. I get weird, creepy vibes.
You got creepy vibes?
I do get creepy.
Do you think he's a very smart man?
I mean, since everyone right now is a part of the Trump administration, I'm assuming no.
Well, I mean, you don't know. Maybe he's a Biden nominee.
Not with that hair.
Okay. This is Jim Bridenstine, not spelled like Frankenstein, who is the current head of NASA. Trump appointee, who announced this week that he is resigning once when the Biden administration comes in. Good riddance.
So I was right. A chode and most likely a sexual predator. Nailed it.
Matt gets vibes. Now we don't know about any. Now we were playing a game.
He probably has a son just like Matt gets.
YouTube censorship.
Nothing wrong with an adopted
but anyway,
son. What
he
were you
is,
thinking about?
as far as we know, not a sex predator or anything like that. However, does seem to be kind of a dumb guy. No. Okay. Be very careful with those allegations.
Okay.
Honestly, this is just a dumb guy that loves being told what to do all the time. It seems like from his history, he before he joined NASA, he is famous for both running the World Rocket Racing League.
Totally real and legit job.
Oh, Allie, it's okay. We're probably fine. Google has rules when they decide to enforce them, as Allie asks. Yes. But yeah, he ran the Rocket Racing League, which was, why can't we have NASCAR, but with little planes that powered by rockets that people fly, and there's an audience that watches it.
Oh, on a side note, if anybody is watching and they can do it, but keep watching, just as a fun thing. Sorry, not to interrupt. Google search why chainsaws were invented and get back to me. Continue.
Yeah, do that. I'll be doing that too. So yeah, the Rocket League was a failure because you cannot watch rocket planes race and try to pretend to be Star Fox ring racing level with any kind of degree of able to being watching it in a stadium. It's not barnstorming times. But then he ran a museum, I think in Oklahoma, into the ground. And then became a congressman who denied climate change and was then nominated to be the head of NASA, where he said, I guess it's probably real, climate change and NASA. But anyway, I mean, this is the thing. Every appointee is supposed to resign, and then if the new administration wants, they can offer the job back to them or whatever. It's like a ritual DC bullshit thing. But in this case, he just decided to announce right off, I don't think I could work well with the Biden administration. I'm just resigning, which is like, cool, dude, whatever. Fine. He's basically turned every live stream of NASA launches into like a SpaceX or Boeing advertisement. There is fucking Tesla shit all over the big return to space launch for the... If some people, you remember that, I think, when he kept talking about Tesla and had Elon Musk on. Two Brilliant men. Bridenstine and Musk just talking about Teslas during a space launch. That's what we think about when we think about NASA, folks. So anyway, he's gone in January, I guess.
Thanks.
So, you know, a lot of people love this guy. It's the same group of people that love Elon Musk. There's a writer at Ars Technica who's my personal bane of my existence because he's former climate change denier, but weather guy. Now he says he never did that. He totally did. And now he just basically pumped SpaceX's leg and wrote a book about SpaceX. Surprise, surprise. It's out this fall. I'm not giving you his name, but yeah, he is, of course, got all kinds of thoughts about the incredible leadership of Jim Bridenstine.
How can you have a double chin and not have a chin at the same time?
Well, as Allie says, classic Oklahoma white politician. That kind of goes with the look, eh?
He looks like an egg.
I think that's what's called corn-fed? Or is that supposed to mean you're a hunk?
No, corn-fed means you're, like, well-built and stocky.
Okay. I didn't look like that. I don't know. He's, like, nearly my age, which also makes me sad, because why can't I be, like, a dumb guy that gets to run my favorite organization?
Because you look like a normal human being that eats more than just, like, meat and potatoes and actual vegetables.
I think it's more so I didn't decide to become a right-winger and do what everyone told me to do.
Also, no offense, but you're a ginger, and how do you have a better complexion than that guy? Like,
His complexion's not bad.
Color here.
Well, anyway, goodbye to Bridenstine. Let's move on to the next person, which is, we talked about one brilliant man. What about the other most brilliant man in the world?
What do you do now?
Elon Musk had a big thing, they think today, or maybe last night. He likes to get high and tweet. He said that he tested positive and then negative twice for coronavirus because he was using the quick tests, which have been criticized repeatedly by many people as not being a definitive test. You do not take those results seriously.
And this is for corona, not anything else.
Just corona. And it was what's called, I think, an antigen test, which they're the quick ones you get almost instantly. And the PCR test is the one that tests for the actual, I think, the DNA of the actual coronavirus, which is, initially it took like a week or two to get a result. Now it takes a day or two. Yeah, he's taking his PCR test earlier today, so maybe it turns out he got it or not.
He'll be fine. He can afford it.
But anyway, it was very funny because, you know, he's been going off about it's not a big deal. Let me open my factory again. Then I'm going to open my factory not listening to anyone.
No.
Yep, Allie's PCR test for the viral DNA. Thank you. Yeah, so anyway, that's our brilliant genius. This actually is endangering the possibility, perhaps, of a launch tomorrow. They're actually doing the official sending a full-fledged crew without testing stuff to the space station on a SpaceX rocket in the Crew Dragon. So that's a shot of it on the gantry, loaded up. You can see up. Yeah, our window cuts out, but you can see the little bibbly thing on the top, right over the NASA. That's the SpaceX in a little maneuvering stage on there, the Crew Dragon as they call it. And I think these are our folks going up. Good luck to them tomorrow. I think the launch is around 6:49 p.m.
Are those the real uniforms?
Those are the real uniforms. And I gotta say, they classed them up quite a bit, or made them look cooler.
I mean, they look nicer, but I'm so used to the bulky stuff that it looks like they got that from Party City.
Well, these aren't, right? These aren't made, I think, to go into space, like as in outside the spaceship. These are flight suits. They're pressurized, but they're not made for like long term. Like if some shit happened and the capsule got depressurized, they'll be fine with these on. But you're not meant to go on a spacewalk or hop around on the moon in them. That's a kind of a different set of much bulkier stuff, like micrometeoroid shielding and stuff like that, which these don't have. And also things to let you move while being pressurized. I don't think these have that kind of setup, but they look slick. Yeah. So yeah. Good luck to them tomorrow. Hopefully it's all good. You can watch the live stream, which may or may not have a bunch of Tesla and SpaceX shit in it.
You can also not do that. There's plenty of other things you could be doing.
Especially if you're in the southeast, you can just look for the rocket when it launches. It'll be a nighttime launch. It'll look sweet as hell. Oh! This is something else. I didn't make a slide for this. Speaking of nighttime launches, I think I told you about this. Starting like last weekend, I kept getting messages. I didn't get that many, but a few, and they're all very similar. Of from my work job, I get UFO reports a lot, but they usually come and go with like rocket launches. And in this case, I got several, like, I saw a glowing object in Cygnus. And it was one person, and it said it flared up, and then it went away after, like, half an hour. And I was like, that... Without a picture to see, it was like a blurry handheld picture. And I'm like, I didn't know what to tell him. I was like, maybe it was a satellite? But it doesn't... Like, a geosynchronous satellite kind of stays in one spot in the sky, depending on how it's configured. But that didn't seem quite like it. And then I kind of chatted with him a bit. Like, there was a space launch earlier that day, but I don't know how that could be it. Then we figured it out. It might have been the third stage of a SpaceX rocket reigniting in orbit to put the satellite into its final position. It was a GPS launch. And since it was a military launch, they didn't actually have a lot of... they didn't announce everything about it constantly like SpaceX usually does. To show you what I mean. So where the Crew Dragon is in the top here, that's where the satellite in its little maneuvering stage was. So popped up there, probably then relaunched and kicked back in, and you saw it from Earth when it was going into a higher orbit. But it's from a few thousand miles away versus those cool ghostly pictures you see of rockets from people on the ground where at night where it's like a few hundred miles away at most. So, and the funny part is in the next week, I guess someone from the office asked me if I had anything for this one email someone sent in with these pictures. Same story, even said it was in the wing of Cygnus. I saw this strange thing. And then another person wrote to an astronomy club and they forwarded it to me like, do you know what's going on here? So something definitely, and it was all like on a line across the US, like from Michigan to New Jersey. So it does imply it was something in orbit that just kicked off a maneuvering stage. Probably that satellite, considering the timing. So if you've heard from anyone seeing anything strange in Cygnus last Thursday, the 5th, after 6 or 7 p.m., that was what it was. Probably. That's your UFO report for today.
I'm disappointed it wasn't real.
It was real. It wasn't an alien, though.
I was hoping it was. We've been watching War of the Worlds.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a part of me that was like, oh, finally, just like end this like
I guess
torment that is our lives here on this rock.
We should probably specify which War of the Worlds.
The Canadian one with the robot dogs with the little meat chunk brains.
Yes. Yeah, there is a French-Canadian or French-Canadian or French country/Canadian, I'm not sure which. I think it's the country and then Canada, War of the Worlds.
Starring Lady from Downton Abbey and Irishman.
Yeah, it's very great. It is very strange, and it's definitely like a Boston Dynamics ad half the time. But it's a very fun show, and I highly recommend it.
Yeah, it's good.
It's grim, though, at times.
It's traumatizing.
It's a good version of the story, for a story that's been told to death a million fucking times. I was delighted. I do think I like the show that's after it a little better. And that's apparently coming to the CW this fall. Trickster. Watch for the Trickster on CW this fall. Very fun. Anyway. This is not the Trickster or War of the Worlds stuff. It is the a rendering of a magnetar being born. It's a neutron star that's extremely magnetic, and apparently there's like space missions that are out there to catch gamma ray bursts, like these quick flashes of ultra high energy, because they're trying to figure out what causes the gamma ray burst. And they think they caught 2 neutron stars merging to make a magnetar, which created a strong gamma ray emission. And I read this article right before we went live, so I don't know if it was exactly a gamma ray burst or similar, but then they decided it wasn't. But very interesting thing. Everyone's thrilled about this. There's a lot of telescopes checking it out because a magnetar is an extremely strange neutron star, which is in itself an extremely strange star. So to see something like this literally being born and being able to turn every telescope in the world on it and in space is quite a treat. So especially if you're into like weird math and astrophysics, which is kind of like the whole, if you want to have like a story about like what it would be like near or on a neutron star, Dragon's Egg by Bob Forward's pretty good. I haven't read it since I was 14. Since it's an older science fiction thing, might be kind of gross or might be great. Anyway, I like magnetars a lot. I think they're cool. Sometimes they have starquakes and it makes them glitch with their perfect timing. So the timing is off by a second or millisecond. A starquake. That's so cool. Anyway, that's all the space news for now. Oh, Allie, maybe on the Roku channel. Yes. So now that we're done space news, do you want to shall we go and dive into the stars? The stars near us, if you will. The stars we can see. Why we originally called this Star Time. Since I changed the name, now that we're actually doing Star Time. So, it's fall. The skies are changing. There's all kinds of goodies to see. New stuff.
Okay,
We got a lot.
Yeah.
We've got a lot. There's a lot of really cool stuff about to happen. And what I'm going to do is I made a short list of... Did it take...
I can't read any of them here. Like, I can barely read them.
Sorry. Oh, here. I got actually switch, so...
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So here we go. We're going to move into...
We got Micropium. We got Capumus. We got Aquabius. We got Cricklet. We've got Pixies.
The Circlet.
We've got Scooptor. We've got...
Scoot 'em! Okay, I gotta. First, I'm gonna do is
Aquila. Is that really how it's pronounced?
Aquila.
No, it's Aquila.
You want to see all the beautiful artwork?
Sure.
I'm gonna turn off the lines for the moment, and I'm actually gonna turn off the labels. We're just gonna look at a few of the ooh, shoot! I forgot how to put the asterisms on or off, so they'll just be on. Okay, asterisms are, as we discussed, the informal constellations. So anyway, we're starting around 6:30 at night. We're gonna do 6:30. We're gonna do beginning of the night, middle of the night, and end of the night for your greater fall season to winter. Basically, we're most of the way to winter at this point. So the first thing you'll see, say you look to the west, southwest, the sun's set in the west here. And you might see two real bright stars in the southwest. And that's Saturn and Jupiter. And they are getting a burr. They're still very bright. And here's a fun part. They're moving closer and closer together every day. They're going to actually get so close. You'll be able to see them both in a relatively small telescopic field of view. Like if you look at it naked eye, you might not be able to split them apart on December 21st. It's very rare. Once in an 800 years kind of thing. So some people then go like, was that the star that they saw for Jesus? It was probably not the star they saw for Jesus, but there are theories that it was a couple planets lined up close together that the wise men went to or whatever. They're just lined up because of coincidence.
Sure. During a global pandemic.
Yeah. And they brought the germs here with their magnetic anomalies. I'm guarantee you someone's
in the White House.
It's an actual
and
Cheeto.
A global pandemic, but these things aligning, that's fine.
Anyway,
if you have anything to sacrifice, do it.
But in other planet news, if you look towards the south, a little above the southeast, Mars is still going real strong, and it's also still very bright, and it's still close enough that if you have a telescope, you can still see some detail on it too. So, still worth checking out. And of course, telescope, you see great detail on Saturn and Jupiter too. You'll see the rings of Saturn, you'll see Jupiter's moons. It's all great, good stuff. Now, here's the thing. What's this bright star in the middle of really nowhere? Especially if you're in like a city or town with a lot of light pollution or even some light pollution. This star is like the only thing you'll see in this part of the sky. And it's called Fomalhaut or Fomalhaut. I do not know exactly how it's pronounced, but it is a very interesting star. It's been imaged with planets orbiting around it, forming in a disk, which is pretty neat. But it's funny enough, speaking of UFO reports, I will occasionally get UFO reports around this time of year for an object flickering red in the south. There are no stars around it, just it. And then I have to tell them it's Fomalhaut because it is low. It twinkles a lot more when it's lower. It's a cool star. So anyway. And it is
that one weird star that's like orangey and the planets around it aren't like spinning, so it's like in perpetual twilight and it's weird.
There's a lot of planets like that. Like tidally locked planets. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of the planets that are really close to stars that they discovered. And here's a fun fact. I don't know if it's fun. But a lot of like the exoplanets you hear of that are like, this star is like super close to its sun. Most of those are like the same side faces the sun. And the same side, and then one's like our moon facing us, or Mercury, kind of, but not really with the sun, because it does actually rotate, just slowly. Yeah.
I would not want to go there.
Probably not great. But
all the animals are probably going to be stuck in the twilight area, and they're going to all have fucked up eyes.
There's some fun books about that, too. Like, if life can exist in that literally in the twilight zone, between the cold and hot parts of the planet, if it had an atmosphere. Or if an atmosphere would even work. What if the weather got too weird from that?
So many things to think about.
I know. Well, you can see here, faintly, the Milky Way. For most people, this will be pretty faint. If you're blessed to be in the mountains, somewhere far from lights, and you let your eyes adjust for about 15 minutes, you'll see this real beautifully stretching across. But if you saw it earlier in the summer, it seemed like it was like right above you. Now it kind of looks like it's setting, because it is. And it goes through the summer triangle, which is also setting right if you go out right after dark.
And the stars there are Vigay, Deneb, and Alistair.
Yes, Deneb, Vega, and Altair. The brightest stars in their respective constellations.
That's for now.
Which are, as you can see, Cygnus.
Does that say Job's
Aquila.
coffin?
Yeah, Job's coffin. There's some wild
Wow,
asterisms here.
Great.
And Vega. But yeah.
It's real dark.
The Dragon's Head, or Lozenge. The Guardians of the Pole. I like that.
I know who they are.
Well, anyway, so it's kind of the biggest stuff you're going to notice, but right above Mars, actually, next to the triangle, is the Great Square of Pegasus, which is kind of like, they call this the summer triangle, so I kind of call this the fall square. It's right above you when you go out at night, and it then leads you over to where Andromeda is, and then, boom. Oh, Cassiopeia right here. Put the constellations back for a second. Which looks kind of like a reverse E or W, depending on how the angle you're looking at Cassiopeia. And again, Cassiopeia always across the from the Big Dipper. Which now, if you go out and look for the Dipper, it's low on the horizon, kind of tilted a little. You might not be able to see it because it's so low on the horizon. This is kind of also called like a weird the clock. The celestial, the seasonal clock with Cassiopeia and the Big Dipper. So when when the Dipper is low in the sky, it's at the beginning of the night. It's fall. When it's high in the sky, at the beginning, it's summer. So if it's over, like to either side, it's fall and winter. I think, or sorry, spring. And fall's here, so you'd probably see it over here earlier. It's been dipping down. Oh, and something else that's coming up, and I want to make sure I covered everything here. Yep. Oh, and since you're going out right at night, another thing to look for right before, right after the sunset is for satellites. A couple hours after sunset and a couple hours before sunrise, great time to look for satellites. Because while we're in the shadow of Earth, aka night, satellites are still in the sunlight, and you can see the reflection off their solar panels and antenna down on Earth. That's when they look the best. It's also very distracting if you're an astrophotographer, so some people hate it. I still think it's cool. So, one last thing, and actually I'm going to see if this new keyboard shortcut I heard I used works. So, you're going to also see the Pleiades, aka Subaru, already risen at this point, and Taurus, which is also the Toyota logo. It's on its side right now, but yeah.
Is there one called Goatsee's Kids up there?
The Goatlings.
Oh.
Yeah, the Goatlings. That's in Capella.
I could see where someone would see it as
The
Goatsee's Kids.
Goatsee's Kids. 2 hands in a hole. But that's rising, and I'm going to try something here.
On a clear day, you can see forever.
Uh-oh. Oh, shoot. Slow down, Jay. What time is it? Ooh, I did it 5 in the morning. I gotta still learn my stuff better.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah. Let's go back a couple hours here. Let's do 1:30 in the morning. How's that? And I turned off the stars. Oh no.
Oh no, you turned off the stars.
I hope the shortcut for stars is S. Okay. Uh-oh.
What?
I turned off the stars.
Uh-oh.
That's easy. So if you downloaded Stellarium, which is free, let me show you how to get your stars back if you forgot the shortcut. You go to Sky, click stars, and here they go again. So anyway, it's 2 in the morning. And I also apparently just disabled the ground. I'm sorry. I'm a professional, folks. I swear. Landscape. You can choose landscapes. Let's show the ground again. Alright. Boom. So, see this here is Leonid's thing. This is now 2 in the morning, about 1:30. That's Leo rising in the east. It's going to look like a big old question mark. Leo's great. It's next to the beehive here. This is Cancer. So you can look at go between Leo and the twins here. That's let me turn off the constellation lines. Oh, that's funny. There's so many stars. They have a bunch of informal asterisms. But you'll see in between. Oof. That's so busy. All right.
Yeah, I wish they had designed the sky better.
I know, right?
What were they thinking?
Star lore. There we go. Show asterism labels. No. So there goes. Well, it's supposed to not show it anymore. Ah, screw it. Since we have the asterism labels on, here is the winter hexagon. And at 1:30 in the morning, you're going to see out most of the brightest winter stars all lined up like this. So, Capella, Alderon in Taurus, Rigel in Orion, and Orion is flying real high here. Sirius in Canis Major, the big dog. Procyon in Procyon Lotor, the raccoon. And, which actually I think is in Canis Minor, the little dog. But Procyon Lotor is the raccoon. And Pollux and Castor in Gemini. So altogether, this is a very large thing. It's going to take a huge chunk of the sky. It's called the Winter Hexagon. And again, it's a bunch of other constellations inside of it. And technically, the Sickle in Leo is not a formal constellation either.
The Salt and Pepper cluster proves that after a certain point, the person who was naming these just gave up.
That's true. Show asterism lines. There we go. Now, put the constellations back on. So these are the actual constellations we're talking about here. And you can see right above the south, you got Sirius is very bright, and you'll notice Orion right away. So, and if you don't, look for the 3 stars in the belt and bright red Betelgeuse or Betelgeuse in Sirius, and all these other goodies. Taurus up here, high overhead at this point. Orion getting higher. Leo, where the Leonids are coming out of. So here's the thing for fall. Several meteor showers going on to keep track of. You're up at 2 in the morning. Best time to see meteors because the sun is long set. It's all dark. Neighbors might have turned off their lights. Several showers to keep you abreast of here. So, Leonids, they're coming next week. I think the 15th and 16th, I believe. 16th and 17th are the Leonids. This is the radiant coming out of Leo. Now, you don't actually need to be looking at Leo to see them. You can pretty much look all across the sky. It's best, if you want to look for meteors, to lie in like a chair or lie on the ground with a towel. Maybe a sleeping bag is very heavily insulated this time of year. Leonids sometimes have storms where you see like hundreds of meteors. It's weirdly enough every 33 years. That's when Earth passes through at the tail, where the tail of the comet that generated these flew through. But this is not one of those every 33 years. So you'll see like 10, 20 an hour if you got really good skies. It's fun to just check a few out. Another one that's actually just happened, but you'll still see a few, are the Taurids. There's like there's this northern and southern Taurids, and I think you can see their radiants are marked here, also in Taurus. There's not very many. They're like maybe 10 meteors max, but they make a lot of fireballs. So if you saw like a really brilliant meteor streak across the sky, like or almost seem to explode, it might be a Taurid. And not the Taurid. I just realized sounds like the store at the mall, the Hot Topic. But yeah, it's worth checking them out. So right now you got kind of overlapping meteor showers. So one thing you can do if you're watching them is kind of trace back where the shooting star came from, and you'll probably see that it either goes more towards Taurus or more towards Leo, or possibly as we get into December, more into Gemini. These are the two twins here of Gemini. So yeah, basically the radiance of these around 1 in the morning are going to be kind of in the southeast, kind of high in the sky. That's why also they say middle of the night's usually best for most of these showers, because the radiant point is high in the sky. So you maximize the amount of sky that all these suckers are going to be flying into that you can see. So yeah, the Geminids are a really big shower. They're like December 13th and 14th this year. And there's a shitload of awesome stuff to see with Geminids. They're very beautiful. They're lovely. It's also the coldest goddamn time of the year. But
I won't be viewing them. I'll be inside with the cat.
I might guilt myself into viewing them for an hour or two. It's actually very nice to set. If you want to do like a time lapse of capturing meteors, that's a great activity. Set your camera up and get the fuck back inside and let it take a series of timed exposures.
Actually, yeah, do that.
Yeah. So yeah, and there's all sky cameras you can watch too that cover it, which is kind of fun. But yeah, and both there's a new moon on the 15th of this month, and then there's a new moon again around the same time as the Geminids. So the Leonids and Geminids are both have barely any moon interfering with them, so it's the best time of year to see them, especially the Geminids. So I feel like I should say, please watch the meteors. They'll be pretty cool. So that's kind of the biggest stuff here. Yeah, we got it. Oh, also, this is a great time to catch the northern lights if you're up north. The sun's starting to wake up and generate storms in our magnetic field. So,
are we up north enough?
Yes, we are. I have seen them.
Wow.
Yeah. So, northern New York State, Michigan, Maine, Minnesota,
I was hoping we'd see them in
Washington
Iceland,
State, Dakotas, that kind of thing. Of course, Canada, you got it good. Northern Europe, Asia, yeah. And the Southern Hemisphere, South Africa. But they have a lot more daylight right now, so it's not ideal. But the poles get it to Australia and stuff. New Zealand.
Hopefully someday we'll get to see those places at some point.
Yeah, we'll see.
Assuming we'll be allowed to leave.
Mm-hmm. But one last thing. So now it's 5:30 in the morning. Almost 6. Sun's about to rise. Here's a nice little treat for yourself that you can see. The Venus and Mercury are going to be right above the horizon. Venus is especially bright. Mercury very bright too, but Mercury is especially really low, so you kind of need what's called an unobstructed horizon to see these guys. So Venus you'd probably be able to see, because I've seen it through the trees here. It's so bright. Mercury I had to peek a little bit the other night to see it. Trees are in the way, but the trees don't have leaves, which actually does help if you want to see it, as long as you're not around evergreens. So Mercury's a kind of a hard one to see. A lot of people never get to see Mercury. I think, was it Galileo? No. There's been a few astronomers that have just never seen Mercury because it was too hard for them to see from where they lived. So it stays very close to the sun. I always treasure being able to see it. It's great. It only stays in its spot for a few days before disappearing back around the other side. So keep that in mind. That's why Mercury got the name of being like a super fast dude.
He's the messenger. He delivers all the messages.
Yeah. Oh, and yeah, just so you know, the moon is right next to the sun because it's about to be a new moon. So Yeah. Anytime you see moonset, moonrise times, and they almost match, it's pretty much the new moon's out and it's perfect stargazing. It's kind of funny. Makes perfect sense. Oh, there's a satellite. Do you see that?
Yeah, is that like real?
Yeah, the Stellarium takes real satellite orbits and puts them in.
Oh.
You can turn that on, that feature. It's great. So
That
yeah.
was just a
Oh, there's another
feature.
one. There we go.
I already saw like a few, and I was just thought, oh,
What one is
that's
it?
so neat.
I can't.
It'll
It's
tell
too
you
fast.
what it is. That's insane.
It will.
Why?
But I can't. Because it's Stellarium. It's awesome. It's a great... Stellarium.org. Download and play with it. It's available for multiple platforms. Yeah, but you can see... You start seeing a crapload of satellites. And right as the sun rises. So... Very fun. And what else is happening? Oh, just because it's... everything's rising. It's a good time to take a quick peek and just to see... Constellation-wise... how things have moved. Mercury's back up, and you'll almost see, what's that? Vega! We saw it at night. But it's 14 hours at night where we are, so what you saw setting is now rising before the sun is. And, yeah, check it out. Here's Cassiopeia. Oh, wait, where's the Dipper? Oh, it's now on top. Wow. It's, like, moved halfway across the sky, because around Polaris. Polaris is, like, the center wheel of the clock that is our sky. And you can think of Cassiopeia and the Dipper as the hands, if you will. So anyway, I hope this made sense. I hope this helped folks out if they wanted to see some stuff. The sun is now rising. The double cluster here is right below Capella and right above the horizon. You can see that with naked eye or with binoculars. I highly recommend it. That's the deep sky pick for the morning. Oh, you can also see Venus's crescent if you look at it with binoculars. Mercury too small, but binoculars will pick up Venus's crescent, which is pretty fucking cool. Anyway, thank you for joining us today on Star Time, and thank you for checking out the skies with us. If you got any questions about stuff to see or stuff to look for, by all means, let us know, and I will. That's right. I'll put this back on main. Hello, ET. Our sponsor's back. Hi. That was our voyage around the skies. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm a little sloppy. Like I said, I've been doing a lot of work, so I had to bump start time later, and I still learning a lot of like the fancy stuff around Stellarium. Perhaps you'll be very good at Stellarium. Perhaps you're a planetarium professional, and they're screaming at me and gritting your teeth as I ran through this little bit. How are you doing?
Great.
Yeah. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
That guy was a chode, and I don't like him.
E.T.?
No, that other dude who looked like a chode.
Which dude?
I don't know, that NASA guy who was hired by Trump and looks like a chode. That guy.
Feel my Bridenstine!
You can just look in his eyes that he's not happy with his life or how it's going.
That's why I picked that picture. It was the funniest picture.
That's like the exact second he realized he wasted his life.
I gotta say, you can't really waste your life if you're a congressman and then NASA head. You basically have a whole life paved with gold awaiting you.
I feel...
This is not a just world, folks.
Yeah, it really isn't.
But hopefully, we've helped you have some fun going through this injustice. Thank you for joining us tonight. Jasmine, do you have anything happening on Sunday you'd care to tell folks about?
Yeah.
What is
My
it?
friend Nicole. We're probably going to talk about Elvis, which is pretty cool.
Elvis?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to do a bad impression. Are you proud of me?
Yeah, I'm really surprised, actually. I'm really hoping that you pull through with that.
Immediately I want to. So, you going to talk about Elvis on Sunday? What time?
11 a.m. Pacific and then 2 p.m. Eastern, yeah.
11 a.m. 2 p.m. Stupid brunch show.
I haven't gotten a lot of sleep thanks to the cat, so I'm tired.
Yeah.
It's worth it, though.
It is. Parent. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do next week for Jagged Orbit.
We'll figure
Perhaps
it out.
We'll discuss the latest and whatever. We'll
Talk
definitely
about
have some
drugs
fun.
And aliens that use drugs. Ooh, let's look at that. Let's look that up and see if there's like any alien stories of like people getting abducted and the aliens were using drugs. That's what we're going to talk about. And aliens and food.
There are.
That's what we'll talk about.
Oh, food is a big one, actually, in Whitley Strieber's Communion, which I would like to host a class on.
Let's talk about that.
Perhaps. I don't know if I have enough time to prepare for that. Okay. Anyway, next week. See you all then. Thank you all, and have a lovely evening.